Yo, it's Omar, and as always, I'm sending you love and peace. Hope you're doing well, beautiful people. Today's video, I want to talk about being an empath and how to survive in this world as an empath. All right, so first of all, what is an empath? An empath is somebody who is born naturally too sensitive to energy, right? So we all have the capability of being empathetic as humans. Empathy is something that is passed down through our DNA, right, through our genetics. And so we all have the capability of being empathetic, and we've all somewhat probably been empathetic at some time, except for obviously certain people who can't. But going back to being an empath, empaths were born being able to feel and see the visible and also the invisible. And I know it sounds kind of crazy, but you have to understand that everything is energy, right? When you understand that everything is energy, empaths are really able to feel the energy of people, of situations, of animals, right? So for example, we all know that dogs don't respond well when a person is scared. Dogs can sense and feel that you are scared of them. And so as a defense mechanism, they are ready to defend themselves, right? And we all know that to be true. We also know that dogs can sense, right, whether there's somebody coming near the home, even if they're far, even if they're not close. And yeah, it can be the sense of smell. No worries, now what's up? Recording a YouTube video, somebody walked by. I'm gonna try to not stop this because I want it to be raw, uncensored, unfiltered. I don't want to touch this video, and I just want to quit BSing and just, put something on YouTube because I've been delaying this for a while. But back to being an empath. Empaths are usually really good at reading emotional cues, right? Social cues like facial expressions, like body language, so essentially, it doesn't matter what words are coming out of a person's mouth. An empath will be able to feel what that person's intentions are, right? Empaths usually have the ability to feel and experience what another person is feeling and experiencing as if you are that person, right? So it's not just, I understand what that person's going through. It feels like you're going through it, right? Empaths usually cry more than the average person. Empaths usually get frustrated and angry more than the average person. And angry not in a bad, hateful kind of way, but angry in a desperate, hopeless kind of way. Because a lot of times as empaths, we feel very, very alone. We feel like it's a curse to be this sensitive. Why is it that I always care about everyone and nobody cares about me the same way? Why is it that I'm always helping others and they don't help me the same way? Why is it that I always show up and I'm there for others and nobody ever shows up or is there for me the same way? So for me, it mostly felt like a curse most of my life until very recently. The only difference on whether it's a curse or a blessing is awareness. Once you become aware, you can use it as a superpower, right? So for example, not to vent and not to brag, not to seem arrogant, but I've worked many different jobs. But I've never applied for a job online or through paperwork or anything. I just walk in, I meet the person, I talk to them, and I tell them I'm looking for a job, and they usually always hire me right there on the spot, right? And that's not me humble bragging. That's me saying that I have an ability to read people. I have an ability to understand people's needs. I have an ability to read people emotionally and be able to provide value for them in what they are looking for. Right? So it was a curse most of my life because I always felt alone. I always cried. I always felt like I was making other people's troubles and problems my own. And I still have that issue. But at some point when you start to become aware that you are an empath, you're then able to navigate in this world by practicing and doing things differently, right? An empath also will tend to be alone. Empaths usually choose to be in solitude, to be their own friend, because it becomes very overwhelming mixing yourself with other people, right? An empath usually has trouble being in large crowds, large rooms where there's lots of people or lots of noise and movement going on. Other people seek and thrive around other people and stimulation and music and party life, whereas empaths usually just want to be by themselves in their room. Empaths usually have comfort or find comfort in blankets or animals, pets, or books, right? So for me, I dive into studying and learning to feel better, right? I have a sister who tends to watch the same movies or cartoons over and over and over again, even if she's seen them before so many times, because that is her comfort. And other people usually tend to, as I mentioned, just lock themselves in their room and kind of just choose to hang out by themselves. It's nothing wrong with us, and it's nothing wrong with the world. We usually have nothing against the world, but it's actually out of too much love and overwhelming energy that we have to block things off in order to protect ourselves. And the cool thing is that when an empath does get aligned and comfortable with themselves, they become a warrior. They want to become the voice for people who don't have a voice. They want to do social justice work. They want to help others who feel alone. They want to help people who are suffering. If you're one of these people, please comment down below if you're an empath. I would really love to connect with you. But most importantly, just see that and show others that we're not alone, that there is a lot of people out there like us. But now let me talk about surviving as an empath in this world, because most people do not practice empathy. Most people in this world are not bad, but they are self-serving, because they have taught us, and when I say they, I mean society, I mean the world, I mean life, has taught us that it's survival of the fittest, right? It's eat or be eaten, right? It's dog and dog, it's a dog world, right? So we have to defend ourselves, and I have to cheat on the partner before they cheat on me, or I have to steal in order to have, and if I don't keep enough for me, then there might not be enough, right? Whereas empaths usually have the tendency to think, hey, you know what, it's all of us together, right? I know what it is to be alone, so I don't want you to feel that. But if you walk around in this world with that kind of mentality, you will always lose. You will always feel like you are being used and abused, and at some point that has to stop. And like I mentioned, that stops with awareness and then practice, right? So first of all, realize if one, you are an empath. And once you realize that you are an empath, instead of getting discouraged, be excited, because that means you can change things. That means you can better yourself. That means you have hope to learn and use it as a superpower. I'm not saying that I'm all the way there yet, but I have been practicing for the last couple years, and my life has been changing. So I've always felt like I'm getting the short end of the stick. I've always felt like people are using me, taking advantage of me, and it's every relationship I have has always felt like a one-way relationship. It's usually me filling into other people's cups, and I'm having nobody fill into my cup. And for so long, I felt like a victim. I felt sorry and bad for myself. But as of recently, I've realized that it's nothing to feel sorry and bad about. We're not victims. We just simply have to regain our power by realizing that we had all the power to begin with, which is why people take from us. People, for the most part, are depressed, are anxious, and feeling very, very alone, because we live in a world where people are portraying, sorry for the nose, guys, noise instead of nose. People are usually portraying a version of themselves that is not real on social media. Right? People are usually posting things for attention rather than posting who they really are. So most people are wearing masks. The real them is actually pretty good, but it's usually buried in so deep that they don't really even know who they are. So if they don't know who they are, and if they're not good to themselves, how can they possibly know you and be good to you? If they don't love themselves, how can they possibly love you? If they don't even want to hang out by themselves, how could they possibly want to hang out with you and offer something to you versus take? So usually these people are energy vampires, whether they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally. They will attach themselves to somebody who has light and try to take as much of that light as possible. But the problem is, oftentimes when you stand too close to the sun, you start to believe that you are the sun. And eventually, darkness comes back because the sun goes down, right? And at nighttime, the sun is no longer there. And when that sun is not there, these people usually are afraid, are weak, are vulnerable, and for the most part, hate themselves, which is why they drink, use substances to numb themselves, to forget about life, or they seek fun, a lot of pleasure, right? A lot of stimulation all the time, because they ultimately don't want to be by themselves. They are not happy with themselves. So knowing this, my advice to you is quit being upset at people for being clowns. At some point, you have to stop going to the circus, right? That is the only way you're going to be able to live. So there is a difference between giving abundantly and being dumb, and giving for the sake of giving without wanting or expecting anything in return. It should be giving from a good place, but most importantly, only giving when we have enough. So you have to be selfish first in order to be selfless. Because if you yourself have no more light left in you, how could you possibly keep giving that light to people every day? So protect your energy. Make sure you do things that make you happy. Make sure you have and develop a morning routine, a nightly routine. Things that are going to make you feel grounded. For example, for me, I actually like grounding myself by being in nature. And a lot of empaths have the same thing, right? Right now I'm this beautiful location. It's a river, a creek, or I don't know what the hell it is. But it's amazing. And I usually take off my shoes, take off my socks, and walk barefoot on grass. And this usually gives me more vitality, more energy, and gives me a recharge. I also know that I love being with my family. For so long, I was denying my family because I felt like they were hurting me, like they were attacking me, or like they were not seeing me for who I was. And then I realized that that was an issue with myself versus with my family. I didn't respect myself. I didn't value myself enough. I didn't love myself enough. So it felt and came across as nobody loves me. Nobody is there for me. Nobody is good to me. But that's not true. That's just the devil playing tricks on you, trying to deceive you, trying to make you feel so alone. Because if you feel so alone and you are a light bulb, what happens when you give too much light, too much electricity, too much power to a light bulb? It pops, right? And so make sure that you don't ever allow yourself to get to a place where you even feel like you're going to pop. So at some point, quit being upset, quit being mad at people, and instead choose to put yourself first. So for example, today I had a very, very nasty argument and interaction with a person who I was working with, a client of mine. And this person was paying me, and because they were paying me a good amount of money, they always thought that it was okay for them to disrespect me. And because I'm a nice guy and I'm a loving guy and I'm an empathetic guy, I'll always make excuses for people. I always choose to see the good in people. I always choose to give people the benefit of the doubt. So, I took a couple hits on the chin thinking, it'll pay off in the long run. Eventually, we will meet halfway and things will be great. So we were going through a lot of ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. And today, even though I need the money, even though it's good money, even though I'm trying to create a life for myself, right? I realize that God Almighty is the only one that sustains and provides, not a human being, not a person, not a job, not an institution, not a government. Nobody provides or sustains. Only Allah. I'm a Muslim, so I choose to say Allah. Only the God, the Creator, sustains life on this earth. So at some point, you have to take a leap of faith and believe in yourself and put yourself first instead of taking crap from people for absolutely no reason. I want to remind you that you are worthy. I want to remind you that you do deserve the best. But you have to stop waiting for people to see your worth and give you the best. You have to start seeing your own worth and give yourself the best. I hope this helps. I really, really do. If you enjoy the video, please share it with somebody who might be an empath. Or if you're just trying to communicate to somebody who you are as an empath. And as always, I'm sending you love and peace.